They're gonna be so mad. They're gonna be so mad.
I'm furious right now. I need something to throw. This pillow.
Dude, this comment section is gonna be in flames.
What is the best season of our favorite shows? This is... Welcome back, everybody, to Versus Power Rangers. We are sitting down to discuss what is the best season of Power Rangers. I totally lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Guys, the show is about.
There's like this really, I'm going to keep it in. Just this real low, nothing's happening.
So we're very chill today.
Last episode, we looked at Lightspeed Rescue versus Power Rangers Wild Force, with Wild Force coming out on top, unscathed. We'll see if it can keep that way once it heads to the next round. But right now, on this episode that you're watching right now, we're not talking about the last episode, we're talking about this one. We are going with Power Rangers Time Force versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't have a guest video up. So.
Okay, so right off the bat, it's a battle of great storytelling and nostalgia. And especially nowadays, nostalgia is always huge. Mighty Morphin is the most popular and will always be the most popular season ever, the most recognizable. But as Ranger fans, as real Power Ranger fans, we all know storytelling wise, production wise, basically every aspect of it is not the best. It's cheap. It's 90s. It's cheesy. It's corny. We all love it with all our hearts. I love the actors. I've met all of them. They're the best people ever. All that good stuff. But Time Force has the story, has the character beats, has one of the best finales, one of the best opening stories with someone dying and having to figure that out. It has the best Pink Ranger ever. I'm sorry. The best Pink Ranger ever. And to me, the real leader of the team.
Facts. For sure.
Much one of the most understandable bad guys when you get his actual origin, like, and his whole cycle, his whole story actually makes sense. And like the thing with the robot character and like so much stuff in that season works so well. And the Sixth Ranger being another Red Ranger blew my mind when I was younger. Like that I couldn't believe it. And their story made sense. A guy who had to work his way and didn't like the rich kid who got handed everything. That's such an understandable story. Like all that was incredible. And to me, if not the best season of Power Rangers, at least in the top 3.
Very well said. I mean, obviously, you know, we're going to have people hop in the comments and hop in, you know, everywhere to just tell us that we're wrong. Because I feel like we're probably going to start leaning more towards Time Force. But honestly, like, Mighty Morphin isn't as bad as I feel a lot of people, like, feel towards it. Like, I've been kind of rewatching it in the background. I was doing another side project, and I was just rewatching even season 1, you know, and it's super fun. It's super just unapologetically itself, which is very, you know, I think one of the reasons why it was so successful at the times, you know, like it is the show that put a person of color, well, 2 people of color on screen and said they're superheroes, live action, and everybody ate it up because, it's the first time I get to see someone, you know, like me on screen as a superhero, and then all my other friends get to see themselves for the first time on screen, and that is so groundbreaking and so cool, and I just want to make sure that we give props to what Mighty Morphin really did accomplish. And I feel like Time Force still
one of the reasons I call myself the Black Ranger is because of that. Because I got to watch that as a kid. I got to watch a black character who wasn't a stereotype. Like, yes, he did, like, you know, the dancing and all that stuff and hip hop keto, but he didn't feel like a stereotype. And I love that. I got to watch that. And that meant, like, you know, at 3 years old, 4 years old, that meant the world to me seeing that.
I will say this. Like you said, you're talking about nostalgia versus storytelling with, you know, Time Force and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like, without Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we have none of this. You know, we have none of this. And if Saban would have had his way, it just would have stayed Mighty Morphin Power Rangers forever, and we would have had the same uniforms. The same uniforms every single season. Probably a switch out of one uniform for number 6, and we would have had the same characters or people replacing those uniforms. People were putting people in the place of those uniforms every other couple of years. You know, if Saban honestly probably had his way, but ran out of footage. What do? You have to move on. You have to slowly make changes. You have to tweak things. And so I think the thing I enjoy, like there's a lot of things I enjoy about Mighty Morphin, but a lot of it is being at the age I was at the time. I was in my teens, and it was a thing of learning, okay, trying to break down, okay, is that new footage or is that Japanese footage? Is that, and trying to figure out what got pulled from where and why are they making this switch? And this is before the internet was the internet. So now you are trying to like get a hold of people who know other people who have bootleg tapes of Jayu Ranger, so you can watch VHS tapes to figure out what's the difference. You know what I mean? Between between Tommy and always forget. Bri. And trying to find out the difference. You know what I mean? And so it's really fascinating to like really study the breakdowns of how these storylines go. Also with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you ended up getting a lot of times, especially in the first season, multiple episodes, like 2-parters, 3-parters, like, you got Green with Evil, Countdown to Doomsday, stuff like that. And the thing is, like, out of all the teams, first season, Power Rangers caught them beats. Okay, they caught them beats on multiple occasions. All right, like Tommy stepped up in the Zord and was like, "Y'all whack!" Bow, knocked them all out the Zord. Okay.
Long live Empress Rita!
Hi everyone, my name is Bia. I'm from Brazil, and I grew up watching mainly the post-Zordon era of Power Rangers, like late Saban to early Disney up until SPD or so. It was because of Time Force that I regained my interest in the show about 10 years ago, and let me tell you, I couldn't have picked a better season to reignite the spark with. Mighty Morphin may have invented a wheel, but Time Force perfected it. It has such a compelling storyline that manages to incorporate more mature themes, such as grief and racial prejudice, without belittling or straying away from the classic Power Rangers elements and atmosphere, unlike certain other seasons. RPM. Time Force also has some of the most memorable and iconic characters in the franchise. Like, people nowadays still talk about Wes and Jen and Eric and Ranzik, and rightfully so. But I have to give a shout out to my boy Trip, who is, in my personal opinion, the unsung hero of the season. If you guys were there at the Time Force panel at the last Power Morphicon, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you!
And I'm really pro Power Rangers on this as much as I love Time Force. But I think the thing I've enjoyed was like there were like true set troubles. There were so like issues with the cast and money and stuff like that. So you start to get these changes. And once again, like me, I'm a teenager. I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I see Jason, Trini, and Zach? Or why I'm only seeing the back of their heads? Why are they using this old footage from this old episode? That's not Jason's voice. What's going on here? And so then you bring in the other cats, like you bring in Aisha, you bring in Adam, you bring in Rocky. And so now you've got this new dynamic, this new chemistry. And like the first like 1.5 to 2 seasons of Power Rangers is fun. It's fun. It's great. It's silly. You get thrown back into the colonial days, and like there's a Green Ranger in the colonial days. You get all types of things. But then you get to season 3. And then that's when it just starts to fall off the rails, because it starts out strong. You meet Masked Rider, who comes off like a badass. And you're like, man, I can't wait for that Masked Rider series. And then you see that Masked Rider series, like, oh, I didn't know this was going to be a sitcom. You know what I mean? It's it starts off strong for 2 franchises. The introduction of Masked Rider, season 3 of Power Rangers. This is going to be dope. This is going to be great. Oh, we're retelling the movie because the movie isn't canon. Okay, that's fine. Oh, we're changing the names of this. Oh, this is metallic armor. That's not metallic, that's glitter.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, we're using the shark cycles from Kaku Ranger, but we don't really have a purpose for them. Oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, okay. Oh, Kim's leaving. Okay, well, Cat, that's cool. Cat's cool. Okay, Cat, Tommy, Cat. Oh, look, oh, that's great. But it's just bad. Like season 3, for all intents and purposes, is so bad it almost must just make me vote for Time Force, because it's that bad. It's that bad.
No, bad.
Like season 3 is literally soccer moms and people who don't have lives screaming how violent Power Rangers is, so we get Adam ghost punching a turkey in the stomach. Okay, like
that's amazing. Watch your mouth.
It's so bad. It's so rough. But like but the thing is that show could have went so many ways in those 3 years. Like technically Tommy wasn't supposed to come back. After the Green Ranger was gone, he was gone. Brad Hawkins from VR Troopers was supposed to be the White Ranger. But fans love Tommy so much they brought him back. It's wild. And then you have, like I said, that whole beef between Jason David Frank and Austin St. John. You have the thing, I want more money. Saban's like, bye, gone, and you can easily be replaced. And all of it was wild. But like, it's amazing how a lot of those bridges have been mended, which is something I thought would never happen. But as a whole, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2 seasons is dope. Time Force is fantastic. Mighty Morphin season 3 is just terrible. Everything about Time Force. Daniel South. What's his name?
Daniel Southworth.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, Daniel Southworth. Yeah. That's my dude. Like,
no, he's a great actor.
That's my dude. Eric Myers was hardcore. Like, like Eric Myers was flat out dope. Like, my favorite characters were Jen, Trip, and Eric Myers. Yep. Wes is cool. Wes is mad cool. I like his storyline. But like, you give me Jen, Trip, and Eric, I'm straight.
I'm with you.
Did you know that Danielle was actually in the audition room with Aisha and Rocky and pretty much everybody? Like, he was during that initial, like when they were recasting them, and he didn't make it, but he kept with it. And years later, he gets to land Time Force. Which is that's what Karen told me. When he auditioned? He must have been like late teens, maybe early 20s. But like, yeah, that's what Karen Ashley was telling me on Let's Talk Toku, which I was like, nah, what? Nah. And she's like,
crazy
totally
thing
remember him.
Dude, I can't imagine anyone else playing Eric. Like, he plays Eric so well that it's like, I could not imagine anyone else in that suit. He's so perfect.
Definitely one of my favorite 6 Rangers in the franchise.
Yes.
And he's a good person too. Like, I've seen him like on Instagram. Our new Red Ranger, Russell Curry on Dino Fury, actually got sent a video. Someone he knows was working on set with Daniel and said like, hey, yeah, I know the new Red Ranger Russell. And he's like, all right, here, send him a video. And he just gave him like this like 2-minute video of him just like welcoming him to the family and like congrats on his season and like being a Red Ranger. And I was just like, that's amazing. And then you look at the opposite side of that with that Red Ranger.
Hey, Russell, this is Dan Southworth. I played the Quantum Ranger in Power Rangers Time Force back in 2000. I hear that you've just been awarded the role of the Red Ranger, or earned the role, should I say. So congratulations to you. Have a great time. During my run of the show, I got to run around like Jackie Chan for a year. It was an amazing experience, and I wish the best and the same for you. Have a good time, and congratulations on being part of an iconic show.
I will also say that Jason Font was the first other, like with Jessica Rae, like he was at that convention too. But I met Jess first, and then I met Jason, and I've seen Jason at literally any convention that will have him.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm gonna make money.
Time Force is just so thematically wonderful, and I feel like that gets chalked up a lot to the direction with Sakamoto-san. And just talking to him about, because I had him on Let's Talk Toku. I'm talking about Koichi Sakamoto.
Hello, hi, this is Koichi Sakamoto. Nice to meet you.
Toku. Just getting to talk to him about his career and like doing a little bit of production assisting here, getting into stunt work, and then moving himself up to like writer, director, producer of this show. And really like the reason why Power Rangers is continued, I believe, as like mostly on like people like him, like on his back, and just talking to him and saying like, hey, I watched Time Force when I was little, I loved it. And he just the biggest smile on his face, and he just has so many fond memories, and just like will go in and jump into like all these like fun little things that him and the cast would do, and you really just see the love there. And I don't know, it's
a weird balance, because when you have for kids, remember, we all know this is mainly for little kids, but we all love it for so long. But for a little kid, I've seen it myself, when a little kid today watches Mighty Morphin, they watch it, they love it, they get the lesson of the week, and they love it. But then also when they watch Time Force, it could be a little harder for a really young kid. But a lot of us grow up with Power Rangers, but also like Batman the Animated Series, something very mature for young kids, but you still understood it, and then you love it as you get older. For me, Time Force, when I watched it, it felt like the show was growing up with me, and I could see how that can be a negative for little kids.
Yeah.
So
this one is such a difficult one for me, because like I feel like no matter which way I go on this, someone's gonna get mad in the comments, because this is just like the two opposite ends of the spectrum, where it's like you have the casuals over here who love Mighty Morphin. I say casuals, and then you have the hardcore fans, in quotes again, over here who love Time Force. And the thing is I don't want to be controversial, but I think Mighty Morphin does better what it sets out to do than Time Force does a little bit. I think if you're looking for hardcore stories and like sort of mature themes, Time Force is great for that. But the thing is that I feel like it's been done a lot of other times really well in Power Rangers, and people put Time Force on this pedestal when it's like Lost Galaxy kind of is equal in quality. So is RPM and a couple other ones. You know what I mean? Or at least for me. But then it comes to Mighty Morphin, and it's like it is so good at what it does that when Saban tried to redo it in Megaforce, in Samurai, in Ninja Steel,
or when they did the
done again. That too, Mighty Morphin cannot be done again. That was such like magic in a bottle, considering how like of all the suits, right? Jetman through like, what was it, Die Ranger they could have chose, right? They chose the dinosaur one. That's such a perfect like middle ground, like nice sleek design, and just like I don't think any other season has really replicated that like sitcom-y Saved by the Bell meets Spider-Man sort of feel that like every other season has tried to go back to but fails at doing. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I love how Mighty Morphin is like this amalgamation of a bunch of different Sentais that are thrown together, and it's like, how do we make this work? How do we throw in the Die Ranger, White Ranger into the Mighty Morphin footage? How do we throw in the Thunder Zords? How do we throw in the Ninja Zords? There's so much creativity in that show and so much stuff that was put into that. And then you look at Time Force, where it's just like, I feel as though that's just a direct translation of Time Ranger. You know what I mean? And I just feel like Mighty Morphin is so slept on by the fandom because everyone loves it. But I think it does a lot of things really well that we just kind of glance over because it was the original, because it's cool to hate on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think my main point is just it's like, it depends on what you're looking for. Like if you're looking for like that more serious, mature, like I'm a grown-up adult and I'm trying to reasonably explain why Power Rangers is still good for me, you look at Time Force. But if you're like just trying to have fun, no season does fun and does what Mighty Morphin did the way Mighty Morphin did it. You know what I mean? It just can't be replicated. And I feel like that's just so underappreciated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like going into this, you know, I feel like Time Force was going to be the winner here. And personally, I prefer Time Force more than Mighty Morphin. But I can't, disagree with the importance that Mighty Morphin has to the whole thing. I mean, there are so many different factors that happened during that entire run of the show. It should just not have worked. It just somehow did. And I think that that's just a real testament to the formula that it set up. And I think that it's such an important show. Is it over, saturated and, maybe looked at a little too fondly at times? Yeah, I'd say so. I feel like there's some reason to that as to why it was, so successful and why it is the leader of the franchise. The thing that everyone knows Power Rangers to be is Mighty Morphin. So no other season has just been able to have that kind of power to it and longing, to have that kind of relevance. And I just think that it's super important for that reason.
Absolutely.
Well, look at any of our collections. I guarantee in all our collections, one of us I have a Dragon Dagger over here. I have Saba over here. I have 3 different Morphers, a movie version up there. Like, It's just
They're basically
re-release this shit so often, dude.
Okay, so like when I was really young, my dad and my mom got a divorce, and my dad would come to see me like once a year. And I remember he came around like my birthday, and we went to Toys R Us, and they had this 2-pack set of the Time Force Megazord that you could change from like red mode to blue mode, whatever. And then it had like the Shadow Flyer time. I don't know what the hell it's called, guys. I don't know these terms. But it was like that ship one, you know, that could merge together. It could be its own, and then they could merge together. Yeah. And I remember he left me with his girlfriend at the time, and like we were trying to find him and we couldn't find him for like 10 minutes. And then finally he pops back in and he's like, okay, you guys ready to go? And I was like, yeah. So we went back, and he gifts this to me. And, you know, like that's something that I've held on to. And I'll say, so you're totally right. Like that's probably the reason why our collections have more Mighty Morphin stuff, is because they put it out so much. But just the construction, the stainless steel, you know, of this item, there's a quality to it. Just like I feel like there's a quality to the show.
I will say this. When Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first came out in 1993, the toy craze from 93 to early 95, anything Power Rangers flew off the shelves. Yeah. Anything Mighty Morphin Power Rangers flew off the shelves because, one, it's new. It's brand new. Nobody's ever really seen this before, or, you know, or whatever. Well, so the stuff was hard to get. There used to be this department store. It's been out of business for like the longest time. It's called Hills. It was kind of the Midwest thing. And so no one could get Power Ranger toys. As soon as they hit the shelves, they were gone every time. Hills was like, okay, we're going to have Power Ranger toys. They're going to be out this time, this day. Get a line. You get in line. We're going to give you a ticket, and you can get like one of whatever or two of whatever. And so the Power Ranger stuff was going so fast, they couldn't produce it they can only produce it at such a speed where if you want, like sometimes you want a Megazord, like I was able to get one. I was like, cool. Well, somebody else got one, but it wasn't in the same kind of box. It was in like a cardboard style box printed in like a green grayscale. And I was like, well, that's weird, you know, but it was still the same Megazord, you know. But then at the same time, what a lot of people didn't know, they were also making the black and gold Megazord. You know, a lot of people didn't understand what that was. And so, like, you know, you were hit with all these surprises, and you were hit like with all these, you know, with all these toys. And also this was like the return of the, you know, I guess like we would call it cosplay gear today, but like, you know, but like say for instance, stuff like the Dragon Dagger or like the Blade Blaster or, you know, the Morpher, like the accessories, like actual accessory toys. So kids could be, there you go. Kids could be Power Rangers at their own home. They could have power coins. They could have their own adventures without an action figure because they themselves could be Power Rangers. They could wear gloves that made the karate sound noises, you know, like, so they brought all that back. They brought all that back because I remember as a kid, I was like, the last time I saw stuff like that was Star Wars. You had lightsabers, you had blasters, you had like all those types of things. Power Rangers brought that back for kids. You know, like that sense of adventure. You could have your own Power Ranger adventures with your own crew without action figures, you know, and you could swap coins. You'd be like, okay, well, this time you're black, you're green, you're the White Ranger and stuff like that. Like, and I think like it sparked an imagination, probably, you know, a massive imagination for a bunch of kids that hadn't been seen since like Ninja Turtles. You know. And
also, as someone who work at a library, kids love dinosaurs.
Yes,
they do. They love dinosaurs, and so do adults.
There's a reason Sentai's done it so many times.
Yeah,
yeah, milking it. You guys want to hear a really funny story before we vote?
Okay,
go for it.
Please. So I was at PMC and I got to meet Ogawa-san, who played Kaku Ranger Red in the Sentai, you know, would become the Alien Rangers, are they called? And he regales this moment when he found out that he was the Red Ranger, and he can see, you know, how successful Super Sentai is in America as Power Rangers, and he's so happy, he's so excited that he got this role. He's going to be the leader, that someone else is going to play him, and he was so pissed off because the actor who played Ko, who was the Kiba Ranger, the White Ranger that became Tommy, he got to be a part of Mighty Morphin, but then he's like, what am I? Goddamn alien. And he's still so bitter about it today.
Man.
So you guys
talk about being a stopgap.
Right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna throw up a 1 if you want to vote for Time Force, a 2 for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the best season on here. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we finally got something that's not unanimous. Whoa. All right. Well, with that, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is our winner for the episode.
They're gonna be so mad. They're gonna be so mad.
I'm furious right now. I need something to throw. This pillow.
Dude, this comment section is gonna be in flames.
Especially how
scared.
it's been for the last few episodes.
No.
Yeah.
No, I was kind of torn. Like, you guys made a lot of really good points. Like, honestly, I sat down, I want to say like a couple months ago, like when I knew I was going to be interviewing Sakamoto-san, and I just sat down to try to watch like some Time Force. And honestly, if you ask me, what would I rather watch, Time Force or Power Rangers Mighty Morphin? I'm like, I'm kind of, maybe Mighty Morphin. I haven't seen all of them, or remember all of them, so I'll definitely probably watch that. But I don't know, Time Force is still really special to me. So
I'm sorry, Dan.
Oh, yeah, it's dope.
If it went up against anything else, dude, anything else, I'm telling you.
This randomizer. Awesome. Well, do you guys want to know what's on the next episode?
Let's hear it.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Break it down. Come on.
It's Power Rangers RPM versus Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. See you guys next time.
Let's go, man. Let's go. 1, 2.
I feel like we can vote on that one already.
That's not even an episode. That's a
Yeah, exactly.
That's a quick episode.